Hey folks, Jimmy here, aka Palette of the Dead. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to the latest issue of Warhammer 40k Imperium magazine. Now, as per usual with all these videos, if you like them, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, drop a comment down below. I love hearing back from you guys and it goes a massive way to help the channel too. Now, with this week's issue, we are in issue 54 and it is our final part of the Adeptus Sororitas, our Sisters of Battle. It's a good one. I like the Sisters of Battle, they're really good. This is the same sprue that we had in our first major lot of Sisters after the Canoness. So this rounds off what you would normally get with a combat patrol box minus the Rhino. But yeah, really good stuff. So essentially it's a pretty decent amount of worth of models. So if you bought the combat patrol box, which is a 90 quid box, you would also get the Rhino with it, and you would get the same sprues that we've already had and the same Canoness that we've already had from the magazines. So for next to half of the cost, you've got a really good battle force just for your sisters. Really good stuff. Rhino's not 100% necessary a lot of the time for most kind of combat patrols, so this was actually a really good bargain. I must admit, I really enjoyed having sisters, and yeah, they're really good fun, and I can't wait to get going with these. So much so, I have a second copy of this issue, as I did with every other issue apart from the Canoness that we had for the sisters. I have second copies, so I do have a larger assortment of good old battle sisters. So really good fun. Now into the issue itself. It's a fairly short one this week, so really easy. There's not super huge amount of pages in there. There's not a lot of lore, no stories, and yeah, it is what it is. So we have our background page for the Adeptus Sororitas, injuries and grudges. So during the course of their wars of faith, the battle sisters of the Adeptus Sororitas endure suffering, both physical and psychological. Many sisters display the scars of previous conflicts with pride and hold a burning desire for vengeance against the foes that inflicted them. So using these D33 charts, you can kind of go through what their grudges are, what their injuries are, and much more. And this works for both your Adeptus Sororitas in general, and you can also utilise them for individual heroes like Canoness and the actual battle sisters themselves. And you can kind of go through how they kind of generate a hatred towards certain things. Obviously, because the magazine is up against the Necrons, this is all very Necron focused. So if you're not going to be going up against Necrons very often, so for instance, if you're not collecting the full magazine, you're just getting your Adeptus Sororitas, or you have friends who don't go Necron and they go, I don't know, for instance, Orcs, you can substitute those suffixes, which are all Necron related, to pretty much any other unit that exists. So you could have, for instance, good old your Death Copters or anything like that, or even your Orc Boys or Squigs, for instance. So you can utilise that type of thing. So it's very kind of adjustable to how you're playing. You also get your hero injuries and your injuries and losses for squads as well on the other page. So you can enhance your background to your Adeptus Sororitas your way. Just roll your D33 and yeah, away you go, pretty much. So happy days. Into the building section. So as I say, literally nothing else to the magazine really. You got your how to build, which is the same as what we've had before, because we've already had these models before. So you can play through this fairly easily. You got your two Sister Seraphim, you got your 3 battle sisters, a Sister Repentia, and an Arco-Flagellant as well. And you have your bases, so 32 mils, 28, and then your Arco-Flagellant. And by the time you've done it, all 7 models will be built, and away you go. So you add them to what you've currently got, which will give us 10 Sisters of Battle, 5 Sister Seraphim. I think you get a, if I remember rightly, it is a good old Sister Repentia, and you get the good old Arco-Flagellants and Sister Superior and stuff like that. So yeah, I can't remember the name of all the units, but you get a pretty decent amount. So pretty good stuff really. Yeah, how to paint sections, pretty large this time round. So if you are going for the scheme that the kind of magazine is teaching you, this is going to be relatively easy. So, fairly straightforward. So, using a bad and black 3 coats to get nice even coverage. Obviously thin down with a little tiny bit of water each time. Just let each coat dry before you place on another, and away you go. Corn red for robes, fairly straightforward, fairly easy. A bit of Mephiston red to highlight, and away you go. Bit of Mornfang brown for any leather straps. Much more. You can use your lead belcher, your Corax white, Screamer pink, Rakkar flesh, and much more. And yeah, fairly easy. It's a relatively easy one. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a fairly basic colour scheme. One that's easy to do. There's some parts of it I personally don't like. For instance, I'm not keen on the way that looks. So for instance, if you have gone like that, I personally think that blends in far too well with the hair. So having a white-haired sister and then a very, very pale skin doesn't look very good together. So you want it a little bit more kind of tanned, a little bit more of a tan skin. So if you are using the Reikland Flesh Shade over Corax White, it's going to look the same no matter what. If you are using things like Cadian Flesh Tone or anything like that, or even Kislev Flesh, you can get different looks out of it, which can look far better for you as well. So entirely up to you how you want to go about doing it, but you can make it your own. You can also go for darker skin tones if you wish to, and try much more and try and make them your own. This also applies for things like your Repentia and Arcoflagellants as well, because they have a lot more flesh on show. If you go super pale, it will look a bit weird. I'm not going to lie, I personally don't like it when it looks a bit too pale. I like the natural kind of looking flesh. Looks far better in my opinion. But overall, the paint scheme's actually fairly decent. It's not too bad. If you are going to be painting it up, of course, you over things like your bases, even with flying stems, you can go over with the Astro Granite and then just dry brush over with some like Dawnstone and stuff like that to bring it to life, really. And it'll look pretty decent at the end of it. So it'll look something like that overall. So you'll have quite a decent amount. And this obviously isn't every unit that you're getting, but it is the vast majority of them. And they'll look pretty damn cool. And yeah, you'll be happy with them. I would be. Even if they look like that, or even if they looked a little bit worse, still be happy with them. So really, really good colour scheme. Then we move on, we get some advanced rules for the faction of the Adeptus Sororitas, of course. So we have their stratagems and their advanced rules. So, of course, they do have stratagems, which use, if you are going to use stratagems, you do use up command points to spend them. So you have things like the Extremist Trigger Word. You also have Deadly Descent, Defenders of the Faith, and Moment of Grace as well, which are all your different battle tactics, strategic play stratagems, and your Epic Deed stratagem as well. So really, really good stuff. So make sure you're reading that if you are going to be utilising them in fights and battles. And to kind of go through, it gives you an idea of how to utilise, for instance, the Moment of Grace stratagem throughout all of it. But yeah, really, really good stuff. So pretty damn cool. Then we move on to this week's battle. So this week's little battle that we have, a War of Faith, and this is the landing zone. So for this mission, if you are playing as the Necrons, you will be utilising your Royal Warden, 10 Warriors, 5 Immortals, 3 Canoptech Scarabs, 1 Canoptech Wraith, 5 Flayed Ones. Going up against the Adeptus Sororitas of, in the shape of, our 10 Battle Sisters, 5 Seraphim, 4 Sisters Repentia, 1 Repentia Superior, and 3 Arcoflagellants, and also the Penitent Engine as well. So quite a bit of kit to get on the battlefield. Personally, as I say, I've got a double that amount. Not in Necron, so. But yeah, really, really good stuff. It's all about capturing the LZ. So the centre of the battlefield, and you have your 3 different objectives. You need to capture that battle. So if you capture and you can hold each victory point location, you of course get your victory points out of it. Battle lasts for 5 turns as per usual, and away you go. Happy days, really, really good stuff, and should be good fun as well. So it should keep everybody a bit busy, but yeah, really, really good battle, and quite a bit of fun out of it as well. Moving on now, next week we get more terrain. So we get the same sets of pipes that we've already had before. Yeah, it is what it is. It's not too bad. I mean, they are pretty decent. They're pretty good bits of terrain, really, overall. For fairly easy to paint up. I mean, I painted mine up. I also used varnish and some good old different varnishes over things like the bits that can pop out. So you can actually have them out and use them as part of objective markers and much more. But yeah, you can get a really good look out of them. They look fantastic. Pretty decent. So yeah, it's not too bad really. It is what it is. So, and then issue 56, we get paint, we get Administratum Grey, and we get Ballard Brown. Yeah, 2 paints. Yeah, it's paint issue. It's nothing fantastic. It is what it is. So they'll come in handy. That's all I can say about it really. They will come in handy. So not too bad. Right then, that is it from me and from the magazine this week. Yeah, it is what it is. Have a good one. Hope you enjoy your hobby time, and yeah, I will see you sometime soon. Bye bye now.